Something I really, really don't like doing is talking about her to people in front of her. We spend a lot of time building her confidence because she is amazing. So when you have to then explain to somebody in front of her all her difficulties and all her needs, it's a really horrible thing to do because she has capacity, she does understand. And what I end up doing is not really giving the professionals the full story. It'd be very helpful if they're already aware of her needs. Because when we go into Lloyd's Bank, for instance, it's now on the system that she's neurodivergent and what her needs are, that she needs quiet space, she needs time to process language. She just gives her name and it flags up straight away who she is, what support she needs, what her needs are, and it's just really inclusive. So I don't know why it can't be like that in the NHS, why it can't just flag up.
About Zoe.
Zoe is my daughter, she's 17 years old. She has a rare chromosome disorder, duplication of 3p26. This primarily impacts her language, so she's very good at speaking, she's very clear, but processing language is very difficult for her. She's being assessed, and when language is taken out of the equation, cognitively she's actually quite bright, but because language is such a severity for her, it's a real barrier to her learning, so it's put her very behind. She also has terrible trouble concentrating, ADHD, she's got Tourette's, expects a lot of ticking probably, dyspraxia, possibly autistic, we don't know, we don't think so. Yeah, lots going on for Zoe.
Zoe's recent trip to A&E.
So she wears a sunflower lanyard. It's becoming more recognised that if someone's got that on, that they have an invisible disability. Not everybody knows, but she was wearing it. But no, there was absolutely nothing about Zoe's needs at all. Reception didn't ask us. Triage didn't ask us actually.
What would improve your experience?
There was one thing. So Zoe does struggle with anxiety. She does have triggers. One of the things she has is hyperacusis, which means certain noises trigger a pain response. And one of those noises is crying, especially a baby or toddler crying. She can't bear it. It does cause a pain response. And when we were there, a baby just came in. Wasn't crying, but straight away her anxiety goes up. And when Zoe's anxious, and she goes mute, and she just freezes. So I think what could have really helped is if there was just a quiet room, a little small waiting room or a little cubicle somewhere where she could have waited, rather than being in the big waiting room.
What helped?
That's another thing that really frustrates us, is that people talk to me about Zoe when she's sat right there, because she does have capacity. And that was something the consultant at A&E at Royal Surrey did do. He spoke directly to Zoe and pretty much ignored my husband and I. And it empowers her. It makes her feel valued.
Zoe's outpatient appointment.
Zoe doesn't lose her teeth naturally. So over a period of 4 procedures, 4 general anaesthetics, over the years, she's had 19 teeth removed. So the last one, she had 4 teeth removed, one of them being it was in the roof of her mouth, so it had to be dug out and stitched up. And that's all done under general anaesthetic because she wouldn't cope with a local anaesthetic and all the procedures.
Pre-appointment information.
There's a little box at the end about any additional needs that you need to know about, so I always have plenty to write. So I fill it all in the best I can. No, it wasn't accessible to Zoe. I spoke to the hospital twice the week before, and I even managed to speak to the sister who was going to be on duty the day of Zoe's procedure, who was absolutely wonderful, and she was so good. How can we help Zoe? What can we do to make this easier for her? She was absolutely fantastic, and then on the actual day she remembered.
What helped?
Usually the youngest children are seen first and the oldest last. Well, Zoe was by far the oldest there, but they let her be treated first. They gave her her own room, private room. She didn't have to go on the ward with the other children. When she was going on to general anaesthetic, they all played and sang along to Pet Shop Boys.
And without support?
I had absolutely paved the way. Without us, it would have been a complete disaster.
Thank you to Jenny and Zoe for their time and honesty in making this video with us. www.healthwatchsurrey.co.uk